Diana, Princess of Wales, has been seriously injured in a car accident in Paris. Her companion, the Harrods heir, Dodi...
There is as yet no firm evidence showing the speed at which the car was travelling, although the terrible damage indicates that it must have been very fast.
Diana, Princess of Wales, has died. This is according to British sources.
So there must be no rush to judgment. Let all the facts be made plain and verified.
"10 years ago, when I first started investigating the death of Diana, the Princess of Wales, I came to the conclusion that she and Dodi Fayed died in the Alma Tunnel in Paris in a traffic accident caused by a drunken driver.
But for the last decade, the theory that she was somehow murdered by the forces of darkness has obscured this simple if sad truth.
Now, with the jury returning a verdict of unlawful killing at the inquest in London, the question is, why has the conspiracy circus gone on for so long?
The answer is one man, Dodi's father, Mohammed.
Over the last 6 months, Mr. Fayed has tried to convince the jury that a fantastical plot to kill the princess was hatched by over 30 people and organizations. They lured her Mercedes into the tunnel, rammed it with a white Fiat Uno, and blinded her driver, causing him to crash. The reason? Diana and Dodi were engaged to be married, and Diana was pregnant with Dodi's child. The establishment preferred her dead than accept a Muslim member of the royal family. It's a remarkable edifice, but I believe that Mr. Fayed's real objective has been to divert attention from an unpalatable truth, that Diana was under his care and his protection when she died. From the moment she arrived in Paris, Diana was exclusively in Fayed hands. She stayed in Fayed accommodation, travelled in Fayed cars, protected by Fayed security. On her final journey, she was driven by a Fayed employee, Henri Paul.
It was here in Mohammed Fayed's Ritz Hotel that Diana's fate was sealed. She and Dodi had made their way up to the Imperial Suite to escape the attentions of the paparazzi. It was while the couple were in the Imperial Suite that Dodi concocted a new plan to fool the paparazzi. The 2 limousines that had brought them here to the Ritz were to stay at the front of the hotel to create a decoy, and the couple were to slip out of the back of the Ritz with Henri Paul at the wheel of a new limousine.
This is the crucial moment, a 28-second conversation at midnight on the 30th of August. It was now that Dodi outlined his exit strategy to the bodyguards, Kes Wingfield and Trevor Rhys-Jones. Dodi told them his father Mohammed had okayed the plan. Ken Wharf was Diana's Scotland Yard protection officer for 7 years.
The only way to leave a hotel in the public domain like that is from the front entrance, because what's the point of leaving via the rear entrance? I can assure you that in every hotel that I've been to in the world, that the paparazzi will always stake out every single exit. Now, nobody was able, as I understand it, to sit either Dodi or the Princess of Wales and say, listen, look, we've got a problem here with the media. They need a picture from you, sir, ma'am. The only best way to leave is via the front.
Before the inquest, I asked Kes Wingfield in his only interview, why didn't the bodyguards take control?
You've got to bear in mind that both Dodi and then later on Henri Paul both said that this had been okayed by MF, meaning Mr. Fayed, and anyone who works in the organisation would be aware that once that was called, you couldn't argue with that, not if you valued your job.
But it begs the question, how can one man, in this case Fayed, operate and control a plan from London without any knowledge of A, what the geography of the place is like, what's actually really happening outside of the Ritz Hotel, and for that matter, what's happening at the rear of the hotel? It's the very worst, in my view, of any security operation. It really is.
A total of 5 Fayed bodyguards told the jury Mohammed would have had to approve the plan. This is denied by Mr. Fayed, but during his appearances at the High Court, his own security was somewhat tighter than the protection given Diana, the most famous woman in the world. 2 cars, several large bodyguards and professional chauffeurs. The man chosen to drive Diana was Henri Paul. He was a trusted fire lieutenant at the Ritz, but not a qualified chauffeur. In court, fired lawyers suggested Paul might have been in the pay of MI6. They claim he met the forces of darkness between the time he clocked off at 7 o'clock and when he returned to work at 10, and that he was ordered to take the Alma Tunnel route. The truth is rather more mundane. He was in the local next to his apartment.
Well, this was my usual way to go home, because my home is just there opposite.
His close friend and the head of the Ritz that night, Claude Roulet, gave key testimony.
Here is the place where Henri Paul lived. I passed here along. He was very close to the bar. This used to be the Bar Le Bourgogne, where I met Henri Paul. He was inside, the door was open, so I made a little sign, hello. And then he said, wait, I come out, and he came on the door. He was about here, and we spoke together a very short time about the events of the day and whether everything was all right and so. And then I said, okay, I'm sorry, but I have to go because I want to pass by home and have a little bite before going to Chez Benoit.
Where you were to meet Princess Diana and Dodi Fayed?
Yes, where I was supposed to meet them in front of the door. And so then we separated. He went back to the bar, and I continued to go home.
The fact is, Henri Paul had been drinking before he took the wheel. A Ritz bar bill proved he drank 2 large Ricards after he returned to the hotel. These alone would have sent him over the legal drink-drive limit. In fact, Paul's autopsy showed he was more than 3 times over the limit when he died.
Shannon Matthews.
Let's take you live to a press conference from the Crown Prosecution Service at Dewsbury in West Yorkshire.